Okay, so in the media, we know that we see a lot of stereotypes that go back to slavery, up into emancipation, up into the end of Jim Crow, that all carry into the present. It was in advertisement, it was in film, and it was in prevalent in society based on redlining and other things. But I can venture to think, and I have the audacity to think, that the young man in this picture is someone looking from the ivory tower. And I can imagine that he realizes that where he is comes from the fact that his ancestors fought for the right for him to be able to stand and get that grand view, and to know what it's like to fight for something, to strive and to live for something in the United States. Because no matter what you see on the news, no one race is a monolith, and you're always going to have your people who are doing the positive things, but no one wants to discuss it. And there's always a suppression of the past, right? Of this group of gentlemen here, whom look like they would have been from the 1960s, who represent men who were pacifist and nonviolent. And I have my views about that I won't express here. Every generation we have is built off a successful one, a successive generation. They've had to learn something, get some lessons, regroup, and figure out how to be better and how to live their lives while refuting society's norms of relentless stereotypes. And somewhere along the line, the small sacrifices of this tend to get ignored. I read this story. I skimmed through it the second time, but read the whole story the first time, like on April 12th. You can't make this fully racial, because when Pearl Harbor was attacked, it was attacked so fast that it would have been hard at that time to identify anybody. The art of the game was to get underground, to shelter, and to survive regardless of your skin color. It doesn't change the fact that sailors who went on board a ship that were black men were only good and known for cooking. And he left his town of Norfolk, Virginia, that was segregated at the time. Hard to believe, because that's the heart of the Navy now, and people of all races are out there. He left at 16 years old to go fight for something greater than what was there, and died in Pearl Harbor on the USS California. They did not identify his remains until November 2023. From 1941, when he went missing, until 1951, when she died, his mother Etna never gave up hope of finding him. But what a beautiful thing that mitochondrial DNA is, that we have finally identified him. And though I think he had very little known living relatives, the one that did speak made it known that his mother never gave up looking for him. It's unimaginable for your son to leave home at 16 years old and be killed in an airstrike while on a boat, or wherever he may have been in Hawaii, in Pearl at the time. And to know that when you were dying, you had no clue what had happened to your child. Nor would you ever live to know that until a new century formed with new technology, that they would finally find him and give him the respect he deserves. I believe the article said that He'll be buried in Arlington National Cemetery September 5th. You can't avoid this without it being wholly racial, because at that time, black sailors really didn't get a lot of positions other than the cooking and the cleaning. But he left his home at 16 years old to serve his country and to do something good, or he believed to be good. And like I said, when you have a conversation with a lot of FBA males, it doesn't go over their heads, or at least the ones who engage in intelligent conversations, that they have what they have because of the sacrifices of people like this, who joined a system that was against them, and despite those odds went and did their thing anyway. Again, I'll say, to be fair, when Pearl Harbor got struck, people were trying to run for cover. People were trying to survive. The DNA testing and the forensics that we have now did not exist in 1941. And they'll only be more sophisticated and easier to catch things, in my opinion, by 2041. But this is one of the best stories, if not the best, to be honest, that I've read all week. It represents progress. It represents restoration. It's a representation that you could have been one thing, and because of your reputation and because of what you brought to something, no matter how many people did or didn't know you, your small contribution, or what you thought was small, can make a big difference almost a century later. I hope y'all go read this story, because I just found it profoundly sad, but I'm glad that there's been restitution.